GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Should GLP-1 weight loss medication like Wegovy and Zepbound cost hundreds of dollars? We don't think so. TryLifeMD.com helps provide insurance access to the leading GLP-1 medications. Visit TryLifeMD.com and check your eligibility for GLP-1 medication with copays as low as $0. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I'd gone from 237 to 195. This was life-altering, and if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get started right now and check your eligibility for GLP-1 medication with copays as low as $0 at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Donald J. Trump in the news this morning. We'll talk about all of it. Philadelphia Inquirer, the digital version, because I'm always updating and checking it. It says, a Philadelphia, institution under attack. Rollover Ben Franklin. Trump wants to get rid of the USPS again.
Oh, no.
The USPS has deep Philly roots. So, Trump, when he says anything, you think about the power of this. When he says everything, even like under his breath, he says one little thing and boom, it's front page news, right? It's at the tip of everybody's tongue. Good morning. Dawn Stensland here. Dan Borowski, executive producer. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing fantastic.
There's so many big banners here. I can't see if I know Jimmy Kelly's in the house, and we have. But anyway, it says that one of Philadelphia's best-known inventions, which was Ben Franklin, U.S. Post Office, he raised the idea of privatizing the post office. Founded in what year? 1770. What? Postman.
I'm sorry. I should.
1775.
Thank you. All right. Well, you know what? I should have guessed. Because I was going to guess that. Exactly. That was the one I was going to guess.
Who was the first Postmaster General?
Ben Franklin?
Yep.
Was
ding,
it really?
Ding, ding, ding. Yep.
Oh,
it was.
Okay, good. Because the headline said move over Ben Franklin, so I had to get that from somewhere, right?
So all he basically...
That's how much I listen on my field trips.
Your field trips. So basically all he said, he was reacting to something, and Trump says, it's not the worst idea I ever heard. He talks about Amazon, FedEx, all the private type companies. I will say we love our postal delivery person, our postman. He's a sweetheart. But and they're pretty efficient. They don't just work the Monday through Friday anymore.
Some of the hardest workers too.
I know.
Like walking miles upon miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get their steps in. But do you agree with that? Should we look at privatizing? And is there a piece of this? Because I think that postal workers, they're fully vetted. Do you know what I'm saying? They do like a background check. Because this person is at your house and in your neighborhood.
Okay, I'm going to put up an argument
5 days a week
for the USPS. And that's with the privatization of this delivery service. You have UPS, right? You have FedEx, but you also have something like Amazon doing their own deliveries.
Right.
And when they don't regulate their drivers, what you have is drivers upon drivers parking in the middle of streets, making deliveries.
Yeah.
And something you USPS drivers do well is you pull off to the side, and I never seem to have an issue where I'm stuck behind a standard postal service, delivery guy or female. It's always someone from Amazon that's just parked there in the middle of the street with their hazards on. So if you want to privatize this and make businesses do their own deliveries or grow UPS or FedEx, at least please require that these cars pull off to the side of the road at least. Please.
Yeah.
That's all I ask.
So 855-839-1210, you can sound off on that. Do you think that they should privatize the Postal Service? There's just an aspect of this where there is a security. I would want, if they privatized it, then they would have to, just like, why not privatize police, right? Why not have, you know what I'm saying? There's a security background aspect of this that I just think, you want somebody who's fully vetted because they're at your house. They see everything, right? They're at your house. Think about it, all year long, 5 days a week at least, right? And so I'm just saying, and they also do the passports, right? You have to go and you do your passport at the post office. So they have all of your information. So it involves security. So I don't know. You can let me know.
They
what
also
you think.
do preventative measures security-wise. Say there's something in the mail that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
You know, I would hope that the USPS has an entire portion that would help to stop something like that.
So I don't know. I like my postman. I'll just be honest. That's where it ends. I trust him, and so I just think, leave it as it is.
Yeah.
But Doge, I think that just shows you that Doge is looking at everything. That's the bottom line. They're looking at the efficiency of everything. So wouldn't it be nice if you were, let's say you're a federal employee and you're the one branch, whatever you do, Doge says you're number one. Do you know what I'm saying? What if they do find that some government entities, and I imagine they will find this, are incredibly efficient? And what would that be? 855-839-1210.
Can't name one.
I'm just, okay, so what would it be? What would be, because here.
The FAA?
That's a good one.
The
air traffic controllers.
It seems people are safe as much as ATCs hate their jobs.
Do their
apparently.
job.
Yeah.
But I will say this, as much as I love my postman, it depends on the post office you go to. But sometimes you go to certain post offices. I know which ones not to go to because there's one out in Montgomery County, and there's this rude lady. She is just rude, and who works there. But everybody else mostly is very nice.
Is that something that floats around in the text group? Like, do you guys say, "Oh, do you know that rude woman over at the post office? We can't go to that one anymore."
Right. So I don't go to that one. Like, warn all the moms.
So what if she's not working the day?
Mayday.
You're not willing to take the chance?
I'm not going to take the chance.
Yeah, it's not a dice you're willing to.
Because they're so nice, like in the Chestnut Hill office. They're so nice in the Flowertown office. So 855-839-1210. You can let me know as I'll just give you a few updates on my take on this. So why is Trump suing the Des Moines Register, Gannett, which is the parent company, and the former pollster Ann Selzer, who allegedly was touted herself as the best in the nation? Because that Des Moines Register, printing and that poll, it stunk. And I think that half of us think, was that on purpose? Was that on purpose that they put that out there and said, yeah, Kamala Harris is, she's ahead in Iowa, which we know is conservative? There's part of me that feels like we all looked at that, even people in Iowa, and we're like, nah, that's a bad poll. That's a stinky poll. It's a bad one. But the truth is, how did they come out? How were they so wrong, so bad? So he's suing. Good for him.
How do they prove it, though?
In discovery, in the process, when you sue, then you have the right. So already, boom, when he filed, they immediately order everything, your laptop, your records, your email, everything, freeze it, preserve it, and produce it.
Okay. Yeah, because you can't FOIA request a private.
Right. It's a private polling.
Yeah.
Right. So that's really the only way, unfortunately, that I know of.
Gotcha.
So got to do it.
Yeah. Tara in Westville wants to talk about the post USPS issue. If you want to talk about that.
Hey.
Hey, Tara.
Hey, Tara.
Good afternoon. Hello. How are you?
Good. Hi, Tara.
I've never felt so special. Every time when I call up, Dan said my name.
We love the name, Tara.
I do think that. Thank you so much, Dawn. I think this is a great topic to talk about. I do think that he's going in there doing a little bit of disrupting left and right. The American people might have a lot to talk about. They might be a little nervous that they elected him.
You think nervous because they like their post?
Oh, I'm not nervous. I just worry about the American people might second guess that they, chose Trump. Just because he's going in there flipping a lot of stuff around. Just people are scared to change,
Yeah.
It's such a public-facing institution to be among the first,
Mm-hmm.
I would argue,
Exactly.
alongside with
That
Tara,
is
might
very
not be
true.
good for optics' sake.
Yeah. Well, that's a great
There
point.
we go. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Thanks, Tara. Appreciate you. Yeah, I think in part, when there's a new boss or your company gets bought and the new owners of the new owners are in and everybody dresses a little nicer. Do you know what I'm saying? So maybe that's a piece of this. It's a psychological impact where they're saying, and this happened in Philadelphia when the new mayor came into town. We learned we did not fully, or maybe you did. I didn't fully realize until it was announced that a huge percentage, thousands of city workers were phoning it in, literally zooming it in, and we're not coming in every day in person. And the new mayor came in and said, no, everybody back to work. Everybody 100%. We're all boots on the ground, got a lot of work to do. And they fought her. They fought her in court and she won. And so people thought, better get back to work. So I think there's a psychological impact with the new incoming Trump administration where they are saying, hey, we're looking at everybody. And automatically, I think if you know that a new boss is in town, if you will, you're just going to, I don't know, I think you're not going to zoom it in. You're not going to phone it in. You're going to work hard. You're going to make sure that if they're looking at you, you're doing your job. And so there's accountability just in that fact that Trump is coming into office. I do, as I talk about Trump, I will say this as well. I keep forgetting he's not president yet. I don't know if you've done that, but I was like, oh, yeah, that's right, January 20th. And so I wonder what would happen if Joe Biden went, not for nothing. I'm home for the holidays. Like January, what if they just scooched it up? What about January 2nd? I mean, isn't January 20th kind of an arbitrary number? And so I think it's like Kellyanne Conway's birthday or something. But other than that, why not scooch it up? I mean,
That'd
right?
go real well with the left, huh?
Just scooch. Like say, not for nothing.
Well,
but
the guy's been completely gone, that being Biden. I mean,
they're not there.
No. What's the matter anyway?
So, and by the way, for those government workers, what they can say to Doge is, hey, basically since November 6th, the top people, they're not even here. We've been running everything. Because that's what I would say, right? I would totally say that. Where have they been? They're not here. We're here. We're holding up the fort, keeping the seat warm, if you will. So we got that going on. I do love that there's this pending libel lawsuit against the Pulitzer Prize Board over a statement the board made, remember this, when it reaffirmed its decision to award prizes to the New York Times and the Washington Post back in 2018 for coverage of Russia, 2016, the Trump campaign. Remember that whole hot mess, the Steele dossier? It was all a big lie. And it turns out it was basically funded by Hillary Clinton. I mean, that was the bottom line out of that. And so that's what they based their Pulitzer Prize award-winning journalism. And it was a big phony. So I wish they would retract that, quite frankly. Give them a Pulitzer for something else or whatever. But they have a libel lawsuit.
You have a Pulitzer, just
I know.
enough of that.
Not for nothing. But I would be ashamed if I was part of that and then learned it was all a big lie. And if these people are journalists with big J's, why don't they return it? Say, we did not deserve this. We base this on lies. Because that's what it was, political lies. Lies. Russia. 855-839-1210. Do we have to take a break, Sir Dan?
Yeah, we do.
We do. We have a special guest incoming, and you're going to love to hear about it. And have you ever done this? Because this morning I was multitasking, and I was sending what a crock, because my niece in Illinois, and we have a big family. They all live in a big house with my dad in Illinois. So I was trying to send what a crock, like a huge gift package with my favorite grandma's homemade meatballs and all their great chili and the homemade cookies. And so I have the address in there, but I accidentally forgot to put it in there. So I sent it to myself. So all morning, if I seem distracted, I know. So if I seem distracted, I was like writing to them and I'm messaging like, oh no, it's supposed to go to Illinois. I wasn't sending it to myself. Maybe it was subliminal, but have you ever done that?
Oh, yeah. It happens all the time.
And I'm sure I can fix it.
on the account.
I know, right? So it was a big goof, but we'll fix it. a very special lady with something you can do to step up. So we'll talk to her. What is she doing and where are we going together? Someplace special in the world. So that's all upcoming. Thanks for being here today at Dawn Stensland on X. Be right back.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. I can't recommend enough my friend and dentist, Dr. Mike Veneria at Veneria Dental. But I also want to share a little secret with you. You know, we're in the final stretch of 2024. As you know, you could possibly have dental insurance benefits expiring soon. Come January, most benefits reset. So if you've been putting off getting that dental procedure done, now is the time to schedule your appointment and use any remaining benefits for 2024. Dr. Mike's office will help you work through all of it, so just give them a call. Dr. Mike Veneria is the master of implant dentistry. His level of care and commitment to dental excellence is unmatched. And if you're nervous to go to the dentist, don't be. Dr. Mike and his staff makes your dental experience simple. He's been named a top dentist in New Jersey for 10 consecutive years. He's respected among his peers as being a master of dental implants. And yes, he's my family dentist. So stop putting off seeing a dentist or getting that complex dental procedure done, and don't waste those benefits. Taking care of your teeth is so important to your overall health. So call his office at 856-786-2020 or veneriadental.com. That's VANARIA, veneriadental.com.
It's Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at Westchester University and Pittman, New Jersey in February.
It was fabulous. It was the most joyful night I have experienced in a long time.
The Frank Sinatra guy, I really liked him.
His imitation of the Bee Gees.
That's Conklin with City Rhythm and the story of Philly sports through music. Westchester University on February 21st and the Broadway Theater in Pittman, New Jersey on February 22nd. Tickets to a Conklin show make great holiday gifts. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Local news can come at you fast. Want the latest on what's happening in your backyard? Download the free Odyssey app. Follow your local news station, and you'll get alerts on the top stories making headlines in your city. You can stay in the know, no matter what you're up to, and be among the first to find out when news breaks. Plus, keep tabs on weather and traffic, so you're never caught off guard. To get started, download the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY, and follow your local news station.
There's a reason that potato chips don't come in a clear bag.
There's only 8 chips in this bag.
That's why. It's only about 2/3 full. The rest is air. It's a lot like opening up your 401k at retirement. You get about 2/3 of it, and the rest goes to Uncle Sam. Jim Cipriotti at the Retire Ready Financial Group can help. His tax mapping process can help forecast what your tax bill will be in the future, and that way you can build a strategy now to potentially decrease your tax bill in retirement. In other words, more for you and less for Uncle Sam. Call today for your complimentary retirement tax mapping report, 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415, or find them online at retirereadyfg.com. And get Uncle Sam's greedy hands out of your retirement.
Hey, you've had enough.
With a complimentary tax mapping report from Jim Cipriotti. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Revamp your living space with Emmons Remodeling.
Our seasoned designers and construction experts bring creativity and expertise to every project, ensuring stunning results for you and your family.
From new layouts to upgraded finishes, at Emmons Remodeling, we do it all.
So call us today at 856-885-6677 or visit us on the web at callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Hey, girl, it's your new night guy, Jimmy Fallon in the house from 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and free on the Odyssey app.
Yes, admittedly, that's me chanting EA. Wait, where was I? Eagles.
You do know how to spell Eagles, right?
I know,
Just want to
right?
get that on the record.
It was just, we're having too much fun in Italy.
Too much fun.
And that exclusive recording from our friend, Anne-Marie Muldoon. Hey, Anne-Marie. Good morning.
Hey, Dawn. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Can't wait for Italy.
I can feel the warmth already.
Woo.
Can you, though?
We got to talk.
No.
We got to talk about these drones. Have you seen the drones? Are you tracking the drones? Everybody's talking about the drones. In Jersey, drones. We got Pennsylvania drones. And then we have
normally.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Normally everything happens on my street except for drones. I haven't seen any drones.
You have not seen any yet, Anne-Marie, huh?
Wow.
I saw a low-flying something, but you have to remember, Dan, where I live, South Jersey Regional Airport is right there. So I don't know what the heck I'm looking at nighttime. I have to be honest.
So in the drone groups that we're very much part of, both you and I, have you noticed a trend of people posting more and more airplanes? And are the drones still out there? Or are people just sighting airplanes and reporting those as what they're seeing now?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of airplanes. I don't know. I mean, I'm not nervous about the drones. It's funny. Yesterday I said, watch it be like a nuclear CAT scan thing that got lost. And here, that's what you guys reported this morning, that it could be. I don't know. I mean, do I think we have drones? Of course we have drones. The police department has drones. We all have drones. My son has a drone. Do I think that there's something, suspicious or whatever? I think I live near Fort Dix. I'm only 20 minutes from there. There's people on that site saying that they're seeing them fly in and out of there. So I don't know. The drones are the last thing on my mind right now. I have a bus to fill on Sunday.
Uh-oh. A bus?
A bus.
A bus.
We have
Is this
the
an
Eagles
electric?
bus.
No, I'm kidding. The Eagles. EAGLES. This is the Eagles bus.
Oh, she was waiting for a moment, Anne-Marie.
Right?
It finally
Sorry.
came. She got
I
to.
was.
I can spell, my friend.
Aliens could abduct me right now. As long as Joe Biden's still president, aliens could abduct me.
So how's the collection going, Anne-Marie? Do you got? Are you filled, or where's the bus stand?
Well, the bus is coming to my office on Sunday morning, and I have my hallway almost filled with toys. We have businesses in Mayfair who are collecting toys for us. I have some of my friends. We have Rockets Tavern. We have Lambie Funeral Home. We have Bella Lisa Hair Salon. Of course, Gallows and the Burger Bar, where the bus is going to be. We have NovaCare Harbison, Stein's Florist, Stocks Bakery, Lore Salon in Port Richmond, and Trendsetters on Frankfurt Avenue. In Jersey, I have Phil's Deli in Cherry Hill, and I have the Jug Handle Inn. We are all collecting to fill that bus on Sunday.
Nice.
So what's most needed?
According to the people at St. Christopher's, they always need infants, learning toys, and teenagers.
Okay. So learning toys and anything for teenagers. Clothes, toiletries.
They stay away from the clothes,
Stay away from clothes.
right now because of hospital gowns. So a lot of the kids, unfortunately, are in hospital gowns at that time. So I asked about pajamas and stuff like that, and they said just really stick with the toys right now. These toys, St. Chris's is doing their big giveaways of toys on the 22nd, and obviously that's the day we're collecting. So these toys are going to go in the toy rooms on the floors for each, for the kids. They'll go in the community rooms. They'll go in the birthday club if somebody's, having a birthday while they're in the hospital. And they will, even like the siblings who sit there for day after day with their sick sibling, they might get a toy if it's their birthday and they're at the hospital. So it's all gone to a great cause. St. Chris's has been wonderful. They've been very easy to work with. They just really need the toys.
So I just racking my brain for, gifts for teenagers, because I got to imagine they're hecka hard to buy for. And my wife, Maisie, she recently I guess it's a new like viral hobby, and it's coming back, and it seems like something you'd expect from old women, but knitting is coming back. And I would assume, I don't know, is that something that maybe people could, because it's $10 for a knit. They're called woobles. It's like a new fad for teenage girls and young women to,
well, they like the knit hats and stuff, Dawn. So it might be, that's okay. But any kind of crafts like the bracelet building or the sand art, although I was kind of thinking of the messy stuff, I'm not sure so much. But for teenagers, we bought a lot of the handheld games like the Simon and Rubik's Cubes and things like that they can handhold and sit there. I'm sure most of them have phones, as they all do, but it's good to stop that for a little bit and get your brain working on other things. So we kind of focused on that. Legos are huge. They have a big Lego area, and that goes all the way up to adults. Adults like to build Legos. We did a lot of the VTech stuff for the little kids, so it's learning and fun. And even we have a couple bikes, and I asked if bikes were okay, and they said they are, because sometimes, they need them for therapy or the rooms or when they go home. I'm not quite sure, but even bikes were okay.
Really? Yeah, I would think like they do those, they're like a little pinball, like a mini little pinball thing, like any games like that would be
Do you remember
fantastic.
the magnet football thing that used to shake and it used to go?
I would think those would be good.
And we had fun with that.
I want to ask you what your big gift for your son is, Dawn, but I don't think you want to reveal that on air.
What's that? How what?
So I want to ask what the big gifts for your sons are, but I don't think you want to reveal that on air, do you?
Well, it's a little. So that's the thing. If they're teenage boys, especially, they want, But in the hospital, I don't know that they have, virtual. They don't have like video games, do they?
Do they have Switches?
They
Nintendo
do.
Switches,
they actually have a game room. They have a game room with a PlayStation in it that people donate. So they do have some of that stuff also.
So you could technically donate like Hogwarts Legacy or for Nintendo Switch.
Look at you.
I know, right?
Something on my list.
Sure. Sure, you could technically donate that. So the event is on Sunday. It is at Gallows Seafood Restaurant, the Harvey's Burger Bar side. It's from 1 to 5. We have Santa. We have the Grinch. If people didn't get pictures taken, they can, get pictures taken with Santa and the Eagles bus. So it's just going to be a great cause. We know it's going to be cold. The Burger Bar is having a blues event. Gypsy Joe Alves has a whole blues event lined up that day, and it's $30 to get in. If you have a toy, it's $35. If you don't, you do not have to do that. The other side has a bar where the Eagles game will be on, and you can just have some Christmas spirit and some cocktails and some great food.
That's wonderful. I mean,
it's a fun day.
That's really, I was looking at, because it's back in Polaroid cameras. So I was looking for, like the instant prints. So I was looking for something. I don't know if there are little tiny ones that are pretty affordable. I was just trying to think of different gifts for especially the teenage. That's hard in the hospital, what to get them.
Yeah, it is hard, but games, checkers, chess, Monopoly, games that older people, headbands is so fun.
And cards.
You can play you can't play Cards Against Humanity, but you can play headbands.
All those collectibles.
I have a story about Cards Against Humanity. I'll tell you in Italy.
All right.
But,
we'll save.
Yeah.
Might end up with another wrong Eagles chant.
I know, right? Yes. So I know that yesterday, Anne-Marie, because you're born and raised in Philadelphia. I don't know if you saw this or not, but Mayor Sherelle Parker, she's incoming. She inherited a hot mess. She's decided to put up this new website that basically it's for accountability and just tracking her campaign promises as she's vowing to have more transparency, more effective, leadership, that sort of thing. I don't know if you saw that, but just your grade on the new administration, especially as opposed to the last Prosecco drinking administration, and what your thoughts as far as how it's going.
I know some people in her administration, and they are very good people. I think it was a very low bar to pass. The last administration did nothing. I am seeing it's cleaner. The streets are cleaner. I come in every Saturday morning around 8 o'clock, and I guess there's a crew out on Friday nights because I have to say, from the Tacony-Palmyra Bridge, down State Road, Frankfurt Avenue, Ron Street, Princeton Avenue, it's spotless on those days. I am not seeing the amount of trash. I've met Mayor Parker. She does not like trash. She grew up in a house like I did with plastic slip covers and, plastic runners on the floor. So I know if anything, I am happy about the trash situation. Other things I could critique, I don't know about this stadium being in the middle of Center City. It's 50-50 for me. I've been in big cities. Miami has their baseball stadium right in the middle of the city, and it was fun. But they have it. The problem is they're much more efficient than we ever could be. They have monorails that run to the stadium. The buses drop off. They don't even have parking lots because most people don't take public transportation. So I just don't think we ever get it right. That's the problem.
Well, I mean, I thought of that the other day. I thought, wouldn't it be awesome if we had those monorails? Like they're quiet, they're clean. I would love that. The monorail system. I would absolutely.
How about we get the trolleys back first?
Are
those even running
the
up in Port
trolleys like
Richmond?
block traffic. They're quaint. I know, but they're quaint. They're in Chestnut
How
Hill.
about we just run Eagles buses down there? We could just run the Eagles buses down there.
Stuffed with
And
toys,
Dawn
right?
we could put Dawn instead of like the watch the tram car lady.
Watch the tram car.
Watch the Eagles, Moss.
We could have Dawn doing the wrong Eagles chant.
I love it. Well, the site
That would be
was
fantastic.
I know. So embarrassing. I was all distracted. It's Philly Stat 360. So that's the new site if you want to check it out. But I don't know. She wants to have a tool of transparency. And she also said that she wants to use every constitutional tool available to fight crime and make criminals accountable. What do you think she means by that? Every constitutional tool possible. And by the way, they've been calling for her to double down on the fact that we're a sanctuary city. Dan, could you air for Anne-Marie and all of us, the soundbite where Mayor Sherrell Parker is saying, yes, we are a sanctuary city. Do we have that?
No, I'll get that here in 1 second.
No, we don't have it. She didn't say that, did she?
No.
No.
While Dan's looking
I was messing with
over here
her.
scrambling
Poor
for
Dan.
clips.
Anne-Marie, see what I do to him. And he's so
while
sweet.
he's looking for that, I'm just going to say gun violence is still off the charts in the city. Nobody ever seems to be addressing gun violence. This past weekend, there were so many double shootings and I believe one triple shooting and single shootings that, I have inside sources on, and it was just, it was blowing up. Another one. So I think before we worry about stadiums, how about we let people be able to get to a stadium safely?
Yeah, but I'll push back on that a little bit because then I reported on that. I did report on that this week of how many. I think we had 11 different shootings. I think it was about two dozen people who were shot, and yes, 3 or 4 killed and many in critical condition. But I'll say this. I mean, I've been working in the city of Philadelphia, coming in every day for 25 years of my life. Live in the city of Philadelphia for just longer than that. The truth is, if we want to be honest, it's select areas. And in a city where you have millions back and forth in a city, it's a tiny percentage. The problem with this is that they're getting younger and younger. So when I actually look at the statistics, and I know about the other quote unquote columns and all of that stuff, the disturbing trend that I'm personally seeing is that the perpetrators, as well as the victims, are getting younger and younger. I mean, we're talking 12 and 13-year-old perpetrators.
And
That's
that
a
is
problem.
very true. And Dawn, you have teenage boys. Let me ask you this. What is there for teenage boys to do on weekends? Unless they go to a bowling alley or their friends have parties, they don't have what we had growing up. They don't have dances. They can't sit outside in a playground and do what they used to do. And my biggest gripe all the time, and this is going back to even the Ocean City parties on the beach, that if they could have kept that wonderful for the kids, like maybe charge an admission and, and did a wand when they entered, they loved it. It was great. And there's so many kids down there. There is nothing for these teenagers to do, and they're bored and they get in trouble. You have to stay on top of them constantly. But I don't think, we were the only age bracket that had literally nightclubs that had teen nights.
Yeah.
Bring
that back.
Right. Have a nightclub. I would pay the money for my son to go in, walk through a metal detector, and be able to dance and have something old-fashioned like that to have. And there's nothing like that anymore. Yeah. We had Mardi Gras. We had electric playground. We had stuff for teenagers because they actually have jobs and spend money, but there's nothing for them to do.
Yeah. I can tell you, because my youngest son goes to a private school that's actually in Montgomery County. And so this year, something different. Their football team was playing in the, before the actual official Interact games. They played city schools and traveled to neighborhoods that maybe were not the quote-unquote best neighborhoods. And the kids were warned about, there was a shooting nearby last week, da-da-da. So everybody was kind of nervous about it. They had, we had to go through metal detectors to get into the stadiums, When we got in, the comment from the kids afterwards and from my son was what great respect they had for each other. And David said, Mom, we were all just relieved that we could play. All we wanted to do, we're the same. These kids, it's not a racial thing. There's nothing like that. All the kids on the field from both teams, all they wanted to do was play football. That's it.
And that's it. That's it. They want to be kids, and you got to let them be kids. And even meeting other kids from other neighborhoods is almost impossible to do because there's no, we used to call them mixers, blenders, whatever, and you go out and you meet other people from other schools. They really don't have that. And if you don't have a sports kid who does do that, then you even have more of an issue. My son and his friends sometimes are just going, we're going to go walk around Target for the night. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's someplace that they can be without their parents being overhead. And then they just walk the outdoor malls because even the indoor malls, I was in Morristown Mall yesterday. It's a ghost town. It's a ghost town at Christmas time. And I'm thinking they have this huge facility that if they could just make it safe, they could have something, bring food trucks in, bring a coffee cart in. The kids love all that stuff. And really in the wintertime, they're struggling to find something to do.
It's so true. Hey, Anne-Marie, we just want you to give the list of the drop-off locations. And also, I know that this is a sacrifice for your patients because you're an amazing chiropractor and you make everybody well and fix all of our backs. So a thank you to you and your patients who get you scooched over, give us a little bit of your precious time.
Thank you. Yeah, they're sitting in the other rooms. They're listening on the radios in the other room, so they're fine. But so if you want to hear the list again, in Cherry Hill we have Phil's Deli on Route 70. We have Rockets Tavern on Frankfurt Avenue, Lambie Funeral Home, Bella Lisa Hair Salon, Gallows and Harvey's Burger Bar on the Boulevard, NovaCare Harbison, Stein's Flowers at Frankfurt and Princeton, the Jug Handle Inn in Maple Shade, Stock's Bakery in Port Richmond, Lure Salon in Port Richmond, and Trendsetters on Frankfurt Avenue.
Awesome. Until next time, my friend, we'll see you soon. Thanks, Anne-Marie.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Woohoo.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So Anne-Marie's the best. I love her. I got the response from whatacrock.com. This is how great they are. So even though they're local, started as a mom and pop local family, they just wanted to provide home-cooked meal and make life a little bit easier for all of us. It's an incredible, unique, and useful gift nationwide. So my dad, I have family in Illinois. And by the way, my niece, Hannah, she and her husband just had their third baby, Everett. And so
congratulations.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's amazing, yeah.
So I just sent some huge gift boxes and like a ding dong. What do? I leave my shipping and billing address. Like I left everything up there and forgot to switch it over, even though everybody's addresses are in there. Which is, it takes like, you could literally send out a gift at whataCrock.com. It takes 2 seconds. It's so convenient. And the foods are so delicious. And then cookies, they have cookies, desserts, all of that. I see Dan looking over there.
I can I just underline real quick, though, what a good idea that is for a new mom to send her some WhataCrock because
if
toss it right in and be ready for her.
And it's just, boom. It just, and there's no prep. Because one time Larry tried.
Gave me some ideas.
Right? It's a good, because one time Larry did this where he's like, oh, honey, I got, to help make things easier. And this big box comes of some company, and it's like raw potatoes and raw stuff. And I'm supposed to sit there and chop and sear. And it's like, honey, not for nothing, but I could have, like, what?
I did one night. It took us, I think, 45 minutes to prep.
And that's not what this is. And that's, I think, the biggest difference.
Yeah.
They make it so easy, but also this is as if you made it or your mom made it. You know what I mean? It's really healthy, good, home-cooked. I could easily lie and just tell my husband, oh, no, I made that homemade. I worked so hard. I woke up at 2 instead of, 3:30. It's unique. It's useful, easy to prepare meals. There's really, there's no prep. You just plop it in your slow cooker. You're good to go. So whatacrock.com. I hope you do this and think about it and just support them. But they've already gotten back to me. Nick from What a Crock, he wrote, Dawn, no worries. We'll make sure, it gets to the right address. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Good to go. That's how their customer service is A+, and I love that about them too. Just use promo code WPHT. You're going to get $10 off your order. Whatacrock.com is where you go. And you can go to gift boxes, condolences boxes, congratulations. So they have boxes already put together, or you can pick and select. You can subscribe, but there's no commitment necessary. So they're really flexible. I love that about them. These are chef-curated gift boxes, and they're specially designed to fit any occasion, from a get-well-soon gift, or like I say, my niece and her husband just had the baby Everett. What a cutie pie. Big baby, by the way. But give the gift also of a What a Crock digital gift card. Whatacrock.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
The exclusive crash-proof retirement system is tried and true, outperforming the market through the worst of economic times, as it did for crash-proof consumer Larry Kipp. In 2007, Mr. Kipp's crash-proof system earned 15.8% interest, outperforming the S&P. When the crash of '08 struck and the market dropped over 37%, his crash-proof system lost nothing. Mr. Kipp did not have to recover from the crash. His system credited 10.8% interest permanently to his account, as others tried to recoup what they already had.
People talking about all the money that they lost, and I could sit there and say, well, I didn't lose any. I knew that I couldn't lose principal, and so when the crash came, I knew my money was safe. I would say that there is a crash-proof retirement. I have proof of it.
Schedule an appointment or register for our next event at the Copperfield Inn on January 22nd. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. FanDuel, in partnership with Valley Forge Casino, America's #1 sportsbook, has all your favorite bets, from who will win the game to how many points a player will score. Plus, check out newer bets like the number of dunks, assists, or three-pointers in the next 3 minutes. And it doesn't matter if you tap into FanDuel before the game starts or after it is already tipped off. You can pick up a W whenever. Now's the perfect time to get in on the action, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/Dom, D-O-M, for your chance to score $150 in bonus bets. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official partner of 1210 WPHT. You have to be 21 plus and present in Pennsylvania. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? 1-800-GAMBLER.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Kale and Company, weekday mornings, 6 till 10.
Hey, Philadelphia, they shut down Christmas Village. The mayor was speaking out about that just when we're making this great comeback in the city.
Not to defend Sherrell Parker by any stretch, but the mayor's only like a third of the equation. You have a chief of police, you have a district attorney. Sherrell can say one thing, but if Larry Krasner does another thing, and then, of course, we know the way that the police have been neutered, you got to have everybody on the same playbook. And if you're not on the same playbook, you're not going to achieve your goal in getting crime to where you believe it should be the, quote, acceptable number.
Start your day with Kale and Company, weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
This is Len Lundy of Lundy Law. When we say we hope you are never involved in an accident, we mean it. But if you're injured in an accident, we will work quickly to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. And when we also say it won't cost you a dime up front, we mean it. Remember our name, Lundy Law. Your injury lawyers. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW or visit LundyLaw.com.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
We have some updates and a local update to something that has been in the headlines with President-elect Donald J. Trump, holding that wide-ranging news conference, saying, of course, that he would preserve access to the polio vaccine, which really wiped out polio as we know it. That was a horrifying epidemic that struck children and adults, yes, but mostly children. And he said, no, nobody's getting rid of the polio vaccine, which is an immunization. But talked about other vaccines. There's a lot of talk about RFK Jr. And I think the focus, I will say, is on RFK Jr.'s somebody who has worked for him for a long time. That's really the focus. It's not RFK Jr. personally, but somebody who has an attorney who has been involved in some legal cases involving the polio vaccine. I think that's where that originates, but they never put that in the headline, which can be misleading. In any event, we've talked a lot about it. I want to get an update because one of the, renowned experts on vaccines, somebody who's widely respected right here at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, an author as well as leading doctor, considered a leading doctor in America, Dr. Paul Offit, know him well, and you probably know the name by now, and was very, and by the way, was instrumental when the COVID vaccine, which remember, this is a wonder of Donald J. Trump's administration, by the way. This vaccine was something that we had never seen before that quick, that they turned around, got a vaccine, incentivized the private sector. And so for everybody who, it's kind of this bizarre thing where Trump almost can't take credit for it sometimes because Trump's supporters feel like, oh no, vaccines bad. Well, vaccines for most individuals. I had the initial COVID vaccination. I'm fine. My family's fine. Everybody I know is fine. Are there some people who are in a higher risk category? Yes. Talk to your doctor. So although I was against those mandates, those wide sweeping mandates for something that, especially for children, was an emergency approval, I think overall, it was it will go down in our history as an incredible feat accomplished by then President Trump to get a vaccine, to turn that round in warp speed and incentivize the private sector to do so. I'm just going to put that out there. Maybe you think I'm crazy or wrong to say that, but I'm being honest here. 855-839-1210. But Dr. Paul Offit, somebody who was instrumental and supportive of that process and worked with, the president then President Trump with his son-in-law. Let's listen now to what Dr. Offit has to say this time around.
Tuberville said that he and RFK, they discussed how they grew up in a generation where they received just 3 vaccines. He talked about tuberculosis, smallpox, polio, and noting how that has now grown to the dozens. And the way Tuberville talked about it to CNN is that he says that he wants parents to understand the good, the bad, and the ugly with vaccines rather than forcing parents to give them to kids. What do you hear in that?
So Tommy Tuberville said, look, RFK Jr. and I only got 3 vaccines and we're both fine. That's called survivor bias. I mean, the notion is that we were fine, so therefore everybody else is fine. This thing about transparency is very upsetting to me because you can see all the data that everybody else sees. It's all open to the public. I mean, when we, the FDA Vaccine Advisory Committee, reviewed, for example, the COVID vaccines in December of 2020, we reviewed about 800 pages of data. That was all on FDA's website for anybody to look at. I don't know what Tommy Tuberville is talking about, but one thing that Tommy Tuberville said that should be a key to exactly what RFK Jr. is going to do is he said, I just talked to RFK Jr. And we talked about how do we really need all these vaccines? That tells you everything about what RFK Jr. is about to do. He is about to do everything he can to destroy the vaccine program in this country. And I think it is a dangerous time to be a child in the United States of America.
So that's the reaction. Dr. Offit is reacting specifically to the comments made by somebody who is not the president of the United States. RFK Jr. is a candidate for health secretary and will go through the proper vetting process, and they're going to ask about it. And so RFK Jr. will have to answer all of the above, right? But I will say this, and I've said this over and over, that things that are immunizations, I do believe part of this is education. So whether you think of chickenpox, whether you think of measles, mumps, rubella, polio, what about your tetanus, your DTaP, it's called, right? The DTaP vaccine, which is tetanus, pertussis, diphtheria. Those are some of the basic ones that we've all had and we're fine. But then what happens is your kid gets to be, I don't know, a teenager especially. Then they're going off to, there are all these other ones that are sort of supplemental in my humble opinion, but we're not talking about the basic immunizations, which, by the way, you can spread them out. But there are some, I just think we need to educate one another on what these mean in our history. And you're going back, like half a century, for crying out loud. Some of these have been around, right? Or 30 years. And they're proven because basically hundreds of millions of people have had them. So are there some risk groups? Absolutely. There's always the risk reward. So to me, the issue is not these vaccines that are out there. It's the wording and labeling of them. Are they a quote unquote immunization that mean that once you have that one time or series of whatever it is, 2, whatever, that you are for the rest of your life, you are immune. That's amazing. That's a miracle. And that's why we're all living longer. That's very different from some of these other things like a booster, right? Like COVID or flu shots. Those are basically boosters that you're going to get every year or 2 years. And those are what I think of as optional. I just think we should word it differently.
Years to contradict.
Sorry about that.
Oh, is that RFK Jr.?
No. Sorry.
You're trying to play him? Oh.
I do have a little clip from RFK that
okay.
I think explains his stance very well in his own words.
I'm not anti-vaccine, but I think we need to be honest and we need to have good science. I spent 30 years trying to get mercury out of the fish in this country, and nobody ever called me anti-fish.
Anti-fish.
Yeah. He spent all that time trying to get mercury out of fish. No one calls him anti-fish, but when he tries to get mercury out of vaccines, they call him anti-vaccine.
Mercury is not in the vaccines, people.
But that's what he's saying.
It's not in the vaccines.
That's what he's saying, though. It's
Come
not,
on.
Not that he's using it to make a joke.
I know. Well, he shouldn't. Okay, first of all, he shouldn't joke about it. But the mercury used to be used back on the day, apparently, to separate out if they had different. They don't put the mercury. There's no mercury in the vaccines. We have just a lot of disinformation and things that were wiped out a long, long time ago. So I think we have to be smart about it. But I really do think there are different vaccines and somebody had told me that some pediatricians are incentivized, like they get a yearly bonus of, let's say, $3,000 to $5,000 if all of their patients are fully immunized, even with those optional things. And so have I dealt with that? Yep, I have. And you know what the problem is, though? Like, I'll tell I'm not going to name names, but I'll tell one of my kids, all right, they're going to say that you want this, and it's like an optional thing, and it's not one of the main ones because they're a teenager now. We're not getting that, okay? Whatever the booster, whatever. But just don't say anything. I'm just going to say, nah, And so what happens is kids are really honest. So right in front of you and to the doctor, they're going to go, yeah, my mom told me we're not getting that. So that's what your kid's going to do. So just be ready for that. But, I think it's about education. And it's about looking into this. And like he said, though, I will tell you the myocarditis risk to young men and teenagers, it was there because I saw it. That's why I didn't get a booster. And that's why my kids didn't get a booster, because I looked at risk reward. So Offit's right. It was there. It was, how many of us have time to read all that stuff? We don't. But it really was there. It was all transparent. The question is, do they have an obligation to say it out loud? I'm just saying. 855-839-1210. So we'll talk to local councilman Mark Squilla, talk to him about so many issues going on in Philadelphia. The big one, obviously, that we might learn more about tomorrow. Anne-Marie mentioned it. We've been talking about it. As far as the new Sixers stadium, are you for? Are you against? 855-839-1210. Be right back.
Hey, Trish Zioli. So I was thinking the other day about how many people would love to have access to my browsing history. All the data that I'm looking at. This is a crazy time in which we live. People love to profile you, but I don't have to worry about any of that because I've got Privacy Pro from DuckDuckGo, and I use their secure VPN, and this keeps my data encrypted no matter where I am, when on the road. It doesn't matter. I'm going to give you a 30-day free trial by going to DuckDuckGo.com/1210. DuckDuckGo.com/1210. Privacy Pro for less than $10 a month. You get that VPN to secure and encrypt your data on any Wi-Fi network anywhere, even at home from your internet service provider. You're also going to get personal identity theft restoration if, God forbid, somebody steals your identity, and personal data removal. They're going to keep scanning, finding your data, and removing it for you. That's incredibly important. All that for $10 a month. Are you kidding me? You got to have this in this day and age. So go to DuckDuckGo.com/1210 and sign up today for a free 30-day trial. DuckDuckGo.com/1210.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Make sure your child or grandchild has all the tools they need to succeed this school year. Call Kathy Ganna and New Hope Academy in Yardley and Doylestown, 800-300-0003. Let New Hope Academy transform your child's life forever by helping them right now. For over 3 decades, New Hope Academy founder Kathy Ganna, pioneering educator and entrepreneur who created the NHA model, has been utilizing state-of-the-art solutions to uncover ways where your child could avoid struggling and succeed. At New Hope Academy, student-teacher ratio of 2-to-1, allowing for students to deal with many disorders, including high anxiety, social and emotional, bipolar. Don't wait. Prepare your student now. Remember, only the best teachers can work at NHA. Call for that no-obligation tour and consultation. 90% of NHA graduates pursue a college education. Call Kathy today, 800-300-0003. Online, newhopeacademy.net. Call New Hope Academy today, 800-300-0003.
As a business owner, you wear a lot of hats. One minute you're ordering today's inventory, and the next you're planning tomorrow's expansion. It's complicated, but your business credit card should be simple. With the Signify Business Cash Card by Wells Fargo, you earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases for your business, with no caps or categories to track. Signify Business Cash, the deliberately simple business credit card. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/signify. Terms apply.
I'm Bill, and I'm living with idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, a type of interstitial lung disease that causes scarring of the lungs and makes it hard to breathe. ILD can be hard to diagnose, so if you're out of breath with a constant dry cough, ask a pulmonologist if it could be ILD. My wife Bev and I have walked every step of this journey together. I couldn't have traveled this road alone, and neither should you. Get help. Find hope. Go to lungsandyou.com.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Should GLP-1 weight loss medication like Wegovy and Zepbound cost hundreds of dollars? We don't think so. TryLifeMD.com helps provide insurance access to the leading GLP-1 medications. Visit TryLifeMD.com to get your free insurance benefits check and see your eligibility in minutes. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I'd gone from 237 to 195. This was life-altering, and if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get started right now with your free insurance benefits check and see your eligibility for coverage in minutes at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
Hey, it's Ike Reese coming to you from the most wonderful time of the year in Philly. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really do add up. But this season of giving, Verizon's offering a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So, while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. How about gifts for your third cousin? That's pretty steep. A single line with Verizon, not so steep. A real tree, pretty pricey. A single line with Verizon, less pricey. Even a trip to the Philly holiday market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with auto pay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store.
$15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome in times of congestion. Unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Mystic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
Kale and Company weekday mornings 6 till 10.
Phil Almquist giving the Kale and Company flag to Jeremy. He's the recipient for the week.
You promise you'll fly it on your truck and you'll return it next week.
100%.
Okay. All right.
You have other people in the hopper stocker, so to speak, or how can people request the flag?
Probably won't be till January until you can do it, but we have other people. If you want to fly the flag high on your truck or house or whatever, you have to display it. It can't sit in the back of your truck like it did for Kale. Send me an email, greg.stocker@odyssey.com.
Start your day with Kale and Company. Weekday mornings 6 till 10 on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
It's a great month to get a luxurious new Volvo from Cherry Hill Volvo. You'll be thankful because there's so many fabulous offers to take advantage of. Lease an all-wheel drive XC90 for as low as $687 per month using all applicable rebates. Costco members save even more, up to $2,000 in additional rebates. See store for details. Customers enjoy the stress-free and satisfactory experience Cherry Hill Volvo provides. Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships really do matter.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. The Dawn Stensland Show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Clap your hands, everybody, for Philadelphia.
And not everybody is clapping their hands over a huge and I guess controversial deal depending on who you are. But City Council poised to hold a final vote tomorrow on legislation approving the 76ers plan to build that $1.3 billion Center City Arena.
Woo!
So we've seen some who are for it, some who are against it, coalitions fighting back and forth. Do you trust the process? Well, let's welcome in City Council member Mark Squilla, who I know introduced, what did I report a month ago, Mark, that you had introduced about a dozen or more bills to authorize this. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So, I'll be honest because I can't help myself. I'm for this. I think it's a great idea for Philadelphia. It's $1.3 billion infused into the city. But so many of my friends and neighbors, they say, oh, this could be bad for Philadelphia. We're going to mess it up. What about transportation? So you say what?
Well, I want to say this has been going on. We've been discussing this proposal for over 2 years. Mm-hmm. We've had meetings with all the stakeholders, including the Chinatown neighborhood, the Wash West, a lot of stakeholders like Jefferson Hospital, SEPTA, and so forth. And during that process, we heard a lot of concerns. What the concerns would be if an arena proposal was at that location, what we could do to offset those concerns. And I think through that process and through the legislative process that we've had, we put together, I believe, are a lot of safeguards and plus the CBA to really address a lot of the concerns that we heard from the communities and to make sure that if this arena is developed here, that it would hopefully spur additional development along our East Market corridor where we have, a lot of challenges right now, and that by doing that, putting protections in place on the adjoining neighborhoods so that, the fears of gentrification or displacement won't be there. Small businesses that are in those communities may not be affected. So our goal was, and I said this all along, that I would not support the legislation unless I believed there was enough safeguards and the CBA dollars to the community in place before being able to move it forward.
So talk about the CBA dollars. At one point when, I know City Council was going back and forth, and I heard that, Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment, which owns the Sixers, they had agreed to these basically it's like community impact money, right? So that you're a little bit displaced or whatever. That's how I infer it goes. But that it was 50. It was 50 million. No, we want 100 million. No, we want 300 million. It's like, show me the money. So, how does that work? And how do you figure out a true formula that helps, deal with the impact? And then my other question is there a little bit of wiggle room in there? Like, let's say, there's one area that, man, this is really impacting such and such, because I don't have a crystal ball. You don't. So how do you figure that dollar amount out?
Well, they came in with initially $50 million as their CBA, and where that money was going to be spent. One of the major things that I believe from talking to all the stakeholders was people wanted an arena-type district, like similar to South Philadelphia where they have the stadium district. And they thought that by having that, they could have resources directly going to the community who decide what should be done in those areas, instead of the city saying, we know what's good for you, we're going to do this, the other thing. So we created what is going to be known as the Arena Authority, a municipal authority. And in that municipal authority, they will be getting resources every year to be able to determine what the impacts are. But beside that, we created what is known as a business interruption fund. So during the times of construction, demolition, and even events, there'll be a fund for businesses who show a loss in revenue or a loss in profits because of these actions, that we would be able to offset that through this business interruption fund. We also created, and the mayor was a big help on this, the 76ers came up with an additional $10 million to make it $60 million, but the mayor added an additional $20 million for affordable housing. affordable housing was a big component of concerns in the Chinatown community. And they believe that, possible displacement or gentrification because of the arena would push a lot of people out of the Chinatown community. So the mayor, what really got this over the hump was an additional $20 million. So we have $80 million to use into that community funded the $20 million to really engage and do affordable housing projects in the Chinatown community. So that was a big plus for a lot of the members of council to be able to support that and therefore help with the concerns of displacement and gentrification. And I think those were the keys to finally get enough members of council to vote in support of this legislation.
So, at one point I did hear a push for $100 million, and I should have had my little calculator. Where are we at 60?
60 plus 20, we're at $80 million.
80. So do I hear 100? Do you think it'll go to 100? Will they agree?
I don't think, I don't think there'll be a change at this point. I think, it came out of committee last week at $80 million. I think that the members who voted on it out of committee, majority of them will vote on it again coming up tomorrow. And I believe that would be the end of the legislative process. But I do believe there's still a lot more work to do. You hear concerns about, transportation and getting 40% of the people to take public transit. We created a transit committee under the authority that would have to come up with a plan. The plan has to be approved by PennDOT before the Sixers could even get a permit to develop and build the arena. So all this work still has to be in place, even if they agree to end up purchasing this property through Macerich, which is the fashion district. And by doing that, they would also own half of the gallery or the fashion district, along with the properties on the south side of Market Street. And one of the big proponents of that was also to build up the south side of Market Street with retail and residential to help the blight that we currently have on that East Market corridor.
So just so Councilman Mark Squilla, just so everybody knows what we're talking about, it's an 18,500 seat arena, right? And it would replace that section of what's known as the Fashion District Mall. So it's like Market,
gallery,
Filbert,
over there?
10th and 11th Street. Yeah, where the old Strawbridges was, right? On Market Street.
It's the Fashion District. It's the western part of the Fashion District between 10th and 11th. That block would be demolished over top of Jefferson Station, which is the big transit hub, right, where our regional rail comes in.
The idea is that you come right in there. And then Dan had a great question that he texted me because this is a great question, Dan. The so-called Disney hole that seems like it's been there forever at the corner of 8th and Market. What about that? Because that's such an eyesore too. What about that piece of land?
Yeah, I mean that is owned by a separate organization. The Goldenberg Group is the main owners of that property. We've been in contact with them, and they, have been saying that there was really nobody was really interested in that site until recently, and they believe that if the arena development is approved, then it moves forward, that they have a possibility of a hotel on that site. So that's yet to be seen. There's been the last proposal on that site was a casino. I don't know if you remember back when they were doing the casino push. That was the last possible proposal for that site. But meeting with them recently is a proposal for a possible hotel there if this project is to move forward.
So I know that the team owners, they agreed to pay an average of, it was reported, $6 million a year in lieu of property and some of the use and occupancy taxes. And opponents have said, hey, this reduces their tax burden. So, I want to ask about that. And just when we hear, for me, I'll be honest, Mark, when I hear about, $1.3 billion being infused into Center City, I think that's a win-win. That's my bottom line on it. We need something. And this is, to me, it could potentially be a game changer if done correctly. But what about the tax burden? And are they reducing that? And whether or not our tax dollars are going to fund this?
I mean, there's two sides of that argument. One is that there was a state law that was passed in 2001 when they were building the Lincoln Financial Field and Citizens Bank Park. Arenas never paid any taxes. A lot of them were built by the municipalities at that time. And so what the goal was, by passing that law, is that there would be a pilot, a payment in lieu of taxes, in order to get some tax revenue back to the municipality instead of having it be tax-free. So what the state said was that you had to negotiate with the municipality to pay taxes, and our taxes are split between the school district and the city of Philadelphia. UNO is an additional tax that goes to the school district.
Yes.
So the city negotiated with the Sixers to get $6 million. It's an average of $6 million over the life of the 30 years or so. But that is equal to, or just about the same as, all three arenas now pay down in South Philadelphia, which is the Wells Fargo Center, the Link, and the Citizens Bank Park.
Important perspective.
So the city looked at that and said, all right, we're getting, for one new arena, we're getting just as much as three arenas in taxes, plus the current value of taxes paid now where the Fashion District is and where the Greyhound Station is a little over $1 million. So to us, we're gaining $5 million a year in taxes for that area. If nothing's done, we would only get $1 million, which is the current value, and who knows what's going to happen to the Fashion District. And by this development, we'll get additional money. Now they're saying if the value of the arena is $1 billion and you paid full taxes on what that value is, but what is the real assessment of an arena? How do we go through and do that, since we don't really assess them? And then the other thing is, if you build a brand new building, you're going to get a 10-year tax abatement. So for 10 years, you don't pay any taxes. So people have that argument, and yes, if it's assessed at $1 billion after 10 years, you would start to get additional revenue. But this is guaranteed for 30 years, this revenue, and so by doing that, the state law requires them to stay there for the life of the lease. They could sell it, but they can't move. They still have to have that arena venue available for 30 years. So they give up the right for that arena to move for 30 years, and then they can renegotiate after that.
Dan Borowski, you had a question, our executive producer?
So, Mark, I hail from Indianapolis. I grew up here in New Jersey, but in Indianapolis, they had the RCA Dome for a time that was actually connected to the convention center, which was connected to an absolutely beautiful hotel. And there was never a day that they didn't have a cheerleading convention or some other kind of convention that was held either at the center or at the arena, and that area was always, very busy. But I spent a lot of time on Reddit, way more than I should admit, and people there, one of the biggest counters is, well, when the lights are dark in the arena and the Sixers don't have a game that night, well, that area is still going to be dead. So I just want to hear the councilman's vision. Councilman Mark Squilla, what's your vision as to how things look when there's not a game at night at the arena?
Well, that was an important part of the conversation early on. And if you looked at their earlier proposal, they had their bowl very low, right above the SEPTA station, Jefferson Station. And so part of the concern was that a scenario that you just presented, that what happens when there's no events. So the CDR, we had the civic design review, and the proposal was to lift the bowl up so that you could have retail and activity 24/7, 7 days a week at that location. So the design team from the development, 76 Development Corp, raised the bowl up to allow for active use 7 days a week on that site, even if there's no events. So that was a big portion of getting them to make that change in order to get support and concern, not only for the East Market corridor, but, Center City District. When we talked to them, it was a big concern because the gallery or the Fashion District themselves, a lot of times the only way to get in there is through the corners, right? We always had it walled off because everybody wanted an enclosed mall type feature. Well, the same thing with this. If you wall off a whole block, that would make that area a lot less visible for the commercial use. So the goal was to lift the bowl up and allow for retail activity and access 7 days a week through that center, even when there's no events.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, it really does.
I will say. Something else that I feel great Philadelphia tradition, and I'm honored. My husband and I host the annual Mummers Day Parade. We will be again January 1st. I know for you, Shooting Stars, Fancy Brigade, you know how to strut your stuff. Is that something that, I don't know, we need to have more recruitment to keep the mummers alive and recruit? We have such a great diverse base of young people in our city. Just talking to a friend, Anne Marie, born and raised here, and she was talking about the fact that we need to give the kids something to do. I don't know, maybe have more rec centers, teach them the strut, and get more and more Philadelphia children, right? Yeah, playing instruments.
Well, I think, Philadelphia is a great diverse city of Philadelphia, and I think having people understand the Mummers Parade is a difficult thing in the first place, but then getting those folks involved in the parade is something that has been a conversation with the Mummers for the last 10 years or so, and they have done it. Some of the clubs have brought in some Caribbean culture folks in their events. There's some Mexican people now involved in an organization within the Mummers, so it is starting to go. The problem with the Mummers Parade is that it's really, people are used to getting paid to go into parades. The Mummers Parade, the people pay themselves to put their show together, and then when you win, all you win is the bragging right that you came in first prize, right? You're not getting paid for it, and there's no resources that actually come from it, but just the pride of participating in it. So it's a mindset change for some folks that go into some of the other parades where they are, actually they get paid for it. So it's an active challenge for the Mummers to do that, but they have put forth an effort to start recruiting and getting more and more diverse people involved in the parade itself. And even with the LGBTQ community, because back in the 70s, they used to have what's called at that time the female impersonator group. And then, several years ago, they had drag queens that were part of the parade. And so active also working in that community to recruit into the Mummers Parade.
Nice. I love the backstory. I remember reporting on your I think your grandmother, Nina, and how you have always believed in raising money to support orphans. Because she was somebody who came to this country as an orphan, emigrated from Italy. I love your backstory, Mark Squilla.
Well, thank you. And it was always important to me as not only, for people who are coming here. And yeah, she came over. I mean, it was an arranged marriage with my grandfather, who she didn't know. And she had 7 children. He ended up dying young. And my mother, who was in high school, and her sister had to quit school in order to work to help raise the children that they had. And I remember one of the proudest moments for my mother was that she was able to graduate high school when she was 75 years old. And that's something she always wanted to do. And, it puts sort of life in perspective and how, you do the things you need to do in order to get by, but also appreciate the things that you have. And, as we go, we become a more materialistic society. Sometimes we don't think of those things and what it means to be part of a family and how that family upbringing guides you and puts you into a direction where you look at things differently. And, sometimes we lose that. So we always want to keep that perspective also and understanding that, family is a big part of how we act as human beings. And we have people to lean on when you have a strong family commitment. And it just means a lot to me and, part of sometimes why I guess I deal with things the way I do.
Beautifully said. Philadelphia City Councilman Mark Squilla, thanks for being here today, and we appreciate you. We'll be watching what happens tomorrow in City Council. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So Councilman Mark Squilla will watch. The vote is scheduled for tomorrow. Will it pass? And it's a critical time period because the owners of the Sixers have said, they need to move forward as far as the arena goes. So we'll continue to follow it for you, be following it tomorrow. I don't know if the vote, I don't know if it'll happen by noon tomorrow, but no matter when that story breaks, it'll certainly either during our time period or the Dom Giordano show, but we'll bring it to you because we're live and local, and that's the beauty of being here and being live and local. My friends at Piazza Premium Automobiles, they feature the very latest in luxury vehicles as well from today's top brands. I'm talking about Mercedes-Benz, Jaguar, Land Rover, BMW, Porsche, Alfa Romeo, Maserati. I dream of that Maserati and more. These models, they're beautiful. They have such sleek new designs, innovative features powered by the very latest in technology. And with thousands of new and certified pre-owned vehicles available right now across their Pennsylvania, Delaware, and New Jersey dealerships, Piazza Premium Automobiles stands out. Visit them. PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. That's Piazza. PiazzaPremiumAutos.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
Attention Medicaid patients.
If you're on Medicaid, how would you like if your caretaker was your daughter, your son, your grandchild, or your close friend? If you're on Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care, and that caregiver will get paid instantly after their shift. Yes, your caregiver will get paid instantly, and it's 100% free to you if you are on Medicaid. Call 267-692-3782 and ask Freedom Care how to get started with care today. No more worrying about getting care from an aide at an agency. Freedom Care helps you choose who you want to take care of you, and that person gets paid. Call Freedom Care at 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782 to get started today. You get a caregiver you know and trust, and they get paid instantly after their shift, and it's free to you. Start now by calling 267-692-3782, 267-692-3782, or go to freedomcare.com.
Do you have shoeboxes full of old videotapes and photos? Starting now, radio listeners get access to our best last-minute holiday deals from Legacy Box. Get your family's videotapes converted for just $9 and photos professionally scanned for as low as 7 cents each, which is 76% less than what other brands charge. As the world's largest digitizer, you know you can trust Legacy Box to digitize your entire collection of old media. Everything from the embarrassing haircut you had in the 90s to photos of your great-grandma's wedding. Visit legacybox.com/value to get 200 photos scanned starting at just $19.95. Oh, and don't forget, Legacy Box also digitizes over 15 other types of analog media. It's the most meaningful gift you can give this holiday season. Take advantage of this exclusive last-minute holiday offer from Legacy Box. Go to legacybox.com/value. That's legacybox.com/value.
Make your home renovation dreams come true with Emmons Remodeling.
We handle everything from concept to completion, delivering beautiful, functional spaces for you and your family to enjoy.
Our seasoned designers and construction experts ensure your project is completed on time and on budget.
Give us a call today at 856-885-6677 or visit callemmons.com.
From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
Are you worried about the state of the economy? Concerned about market crashes and rising inflation wiping out your savings? At Noble Gold Investments, we understand your fears and have a solution. Call us today at 1-888-403-1050. Imagine safeguarding you and your family with a tangible asset that has stood the test of time. Gold. With Noble Gold Investments, you can diversify your portfolio and protect your wealth from economic turmoil. Our team will guide you through the process, ensuring you make informed decisions that best suit your needs. Call Noble Gold Investments today at 1-888-403-1050. That's 1-888-403-1050. The future is uncertain. Take control now. Call 1-888-403-1050.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Virtua Health, real patients, real doctors, real complex cases. Take one.
Open heart surgery, tear in my aorta.
The most complex cases come to us at Virtua Health.
I'm sure I wouldn't have been here without you.
Being a 45-year-old, not being able to walk up one flight of stairs, I had no idea I was in heart failure.
Virtua is a premier heart failure center in South Jersey.
They changed my life. It's truly a blessing.
Want to follow our stories? Go to virtua.org. Virtua Health, here for good.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Weather sponsored by Turn 7.
Clouds will be on the increase today ahead of our next storm system. Rain develops later this afternoon, so expect a slower evening commute. High temperature up around 54. Tonight, rain ending after midnight, low of around 40. And for Thursday, partly sunny and windy and colder with a high 47.
Closing liquidation. Turn 7 liquidations must vacate and liquidate immediately with massive extra 50% off savings. Everything for Christmas. Electronics, furniture, toys, and more toys. Now being sacrificed at an extra 50% off. Hurry, Turn 7, Philadelphia Mills. Turn 7 liquidations.
Free speech lives here with Rich Zioli weekday afternoons 3 till 7 on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
What's going on? So I just want to wrap up our earlier conversation because we got a lot of reaction to talking about childhood vaccinations, immunizations I'm talking about. So in 1999, FDA reviewed the use of something called thimerosal. It's a preservative and a different kind of mercury, but it has the word mercury in it. Freaked everybody out. So they did this big review on childhood vaccines. They said they found no evidence of harm in thimerosal, but because everybody was worried about it because of that, remember, I've talked about that study in the UK. It was a lawsuit, and it was a phony study that alleged that vaccines caused autism. And that guy, whoever that guy was, I've said his name before, should still be in prison because of what, it just struck such fear in people. And it was a phony, concocted study to win a lawsuit, which is sickening. Lancet picked it up. So that's why a lot of people still believe it to this day. But in 1999, that's when the FDA recommended just remove this preservative from all childhood and baby vaccines, all that stuff. And so they recommended it in 99. It was a done deal. So I know that somewhere between 2000 and 2001, that's when it was removed from those childhood vaccines. I remember this vividly because when my children were born, I was pregnant in like 2004-ish, right? And then 2006, 2007. And I was so worried about all of this because it was in the headlines constantly. And obviously when you're pregnant and having babies, you're worried about this stuff, of course. But except for the flu shot, by 2001, thimerosal removed from all those vaccines, especially the childhood vaccines. So I just want to clarify that for you, 855-839-1210. What I don't know, was RFK Jr. one of the attorneys who pressured to have that removed? And I believe he was involved in that movement back in the day. That's my belief, but we have to confirm that one. 855-839-1210, the number to call. Let's get to Lynn, because I know you had concerns about that childhood, especially children's immunizations. Hey, Lynn.
Hi. Yes, I have a website called healthalertphilly.org, and I've collected a lot of information. I've also reported on it as a freelance journalist on this issue. I really encourage people to go to the website and read what I've collected on vaccines, and also encourage the public. The FDA requires all manufacturers to have a vaccine package insert, and this is not the marketing materials. This is a more detailed technical paper that you can find. I've got links to it, and then you can read what a lot of the issues to do with the vaccines. Not all of them, but I think the important thing is they all have a Section 13. And in Section 13, they all say, every single one of these vaccines manufacturers admit that the vaccine has not been studied or evaluated for its potential to cause cancer, damage DNA, or impair fertility. And I think that's pretty much, they haven't been studied at all, to be honest. And also the placebo studies, they use other vaccines. They don't use, a sugar pill. That's not what they're using. So these vaccine manufacturers have literally gotten away with murder for decades. And I include the polio vaccine in there because SR40 contaminated, I think it was over 100 million doses of polio vaccine. This was decades ago, and they've written books on it, including Paul Offit has. So I really strongly suggest that you interview Dr. Suzanne Humphreys and people at Children's Health Defense .org.
But can I just ask you something? I mean, just in general, okay? Because you've said about studies, Lynn, but the truth is, isn't it a study to say hundreds of millions over decades, hundreds of millions of children and people, for example, the polio vaccine, that was a horrible disease that was basically eradicated.
So no, that's not. That people do not agree with that anymore.
Oh, they
and
don't.
Looking over the information,
wait, so
at
it did
the
not.
Same time,
wait,
DDT,
Lynn. Okay, it's okay. We're going to have the conversation, but just so are you saying that the polio vaccine did not eradicate that horrible childhood disease?
I am not saying this.
Okay.
Researchers and doctors are seriously questioning what the polio vaccine was all about, because at the same time they were releasing clouds of DDT throughout neighborhoods across the country. So and you also have to understand, when you get these vaccines, you're getting part of the disease. So a lot of people think, oh, I'm getting a vaccine. I don't like being around other people who haven't gotten vaccines. But in fact, many vaccines shed the very viruses that people are concerned about. So let's just say with the flu vaccine, when you get a flu vaccine,
the flu is not a vaccine to me. The flu it's a booster. I wish that and I'm just saying that, Lynn, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just feel like we have to differentiate things between, like the tetanus shot. Like the other day I'm in the yard, as it was warm, and I step on this big rusty nail. And right away my husband's like, did you have your tetanus? I'm like, yeah, I had a tetanus shot like 5 years ago or something. But the tetanus shot, it's a pretty good shot, right?
No, I don't agree with that.
You don't? Okay.
And the thing is, on the website, on healthalertphilly.org, I list, many, many, many books that have been written over the years of doctors and scientists warning about each and every one of these vaccines. So it's not just one or the other. It's the whole kit and caboodle of these vaccines need to be exposed for what's really going on. I don't think a lot of research needs to really happen. I think the information that's there needs to be disseminated to the public and let them make up their minds. But this is also, again, many of these vaccines, when somebody takes them, they shed to other people. So in fact, the people who get the vaccines can be causing a lot of damage to the people around them. So there's a lot of different.
I've never heard of that. I've really never heard of that, because normally it's not anymore. It's not a live virus.
When you get, again, going back to the flu shot or whatever you want to call it, when you get that shot, on the government websites, they advise you not to visit people at the hospital.
Yeah.
And so there is a infection characteristic to these shots. Why did all those college kids, that we hear over time, get mumps again? Because they took the shot when they were young, and then it wears off. So now they've got the mumps when they're older, and it's a far more serious thing. It would have been better had they just gotten the disease, gotten the permanent immunity, and moved on. But instead, we've created a problem with these shots. And many of them, what they do is they shortcut and sabotage, or short circuit and sabotage our immune system. And that's, then what do kids get? I have a granddaughter who got diabetes type 1 at 5 years old. Those things are not normal. So the things we see, and what RFK Jr. is talking about, is our overall health of the entire population over decades has gone downhill. And you have to start looking at not just our food, but of our medications, and particularly the vaccines that have been protected from liability by our federal government, something that should have never, ever taken place.
Lynn, do other countries have around the world the same types of immunizations that we have?
No, I don't think any country gives as many vaccines as we do.
Yeah.
None. And then if you look at the groups like the Amish, they have the hello?
I mean, you're here.
Yeah, the Amish have a very low, if nil, population for autism. So,
Right.
and that study you're talking about, and I can't remember his name either, of that doctor, the UK doctor.
Yes.
That was not debunked, and in fact, his partner in that
He went to
study
jail.
was reinstated.
Didn't he go to jail? The author
no,
of it, though?
he did not. In fact, he's a hero. He is on these documentaries that RFK Jr. has produced. He is a hero in the anti-vax, and although RFK Jr. says he's not anti-vax, I'd like to see the vaccine he actually approves of. The whole concept of short-circuiting your immune system is a flawed concept. Your immune system is supposed to be challenged so it can build a more robust body. And if you're trying to short-circuit that, you're not doing yourself any favors. I have grandchildren. Half of them were vaccinated. The other half were not. And I've seen for myself. I just think if I had to do it all over again, I would have never vaccinated my children. We have to look at any mass medication with concern, because where are these things being manufactured? By who? Under what circumstances? In China, as I understand it, and other countries, they go to herbal remedies first, and then to pharmaceuticals second. And we're going to pharmaceuticals before we're going to food or herbal remedies
I
or
agree
anything.
with that. Yeah, I do agree with that. So his name's Andrew Wakefield. I had to think of it. So this is what he's listed at: a British fraudster, discredited academic, anti-vax activist, and a former physician. So
that would be Wikipedia would say that.
I've just read your Wikipedia. So he was taken off. So he was a doctor, and that was for and he's accused of committing fraud with that Lancet MMR 1998 study.
Please interview somebody from Children's Health Defense, or Dr. Susan Humphreys, who I believe resides in New Jersey, or any one of the authors of the books I have listed on my website. Please interview them, because Dr. Brian Hooker, whose son I don't know if he's deceased or not, but very seriously affected by vaccines. Interview them and get the story straight from the people who are involved in the research and have been very involved in this situation for, again, decades now.
Lynn, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I always I will always do this, have the conversation, and I think it's always important to do your own research. When my kids were born, I separated out. I was freaked out about this whole thing because of this Wakefield, this controversy that was going on. I talked to my pediatrician about it, and at the time, it was a very big deal back then because it was published in 1998 in The Lancet. And so that has continued on for decades now. But I will say, so this Wakefield, they stripped him of his titles. He ended up, I think he's in Texas at this point. But then he resigned, and this again, I'm looking at Wikipedia. I was trying to find other sources of it, but he resigned from that position like almost 15 years ago. So in that one, he left his home country, then came here. I don't know what he's doing now, to be honest.
So Wikipedia, you have to look at who runs Wikipedia. You cannot trust them as a source for this kind of information. You really can't.
Right.
So,
well, what they rely on, Lynn, is they rely on all of the different articles that have been written, and so then you can think about media, how that has. So I'll quote it, but then I always say look for yourself and look beyond those headlines as you're talking about it. I know the Lancet did indeed in 2010. They retracted the article, and it was, he's now, I'm looking at all these, but I'll continue with it. Lynn, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks
You're
for your
very
call.
welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm just going to be honest. I'm fully vaccinated. I got all the vaccines. My kids got most of them. Some of them that I consider to be the quote-unquote optional ones, they did not get. But to me, the polio, things like polio, that vaccine, these have been around for decades. They've been around a very long time. And then the other ones, like I mentioned tetanus. And she said, no, it's not. Well, I don't know. My dad even. I mean, my dad is like, what is he, almost 90. We talked last night. He had he had all this stuff, right? He had the tetanus. He's fine. So, I know that, look, we have the luxury of being skeptical. I guess I'll just say that. We have the luxury of researching and being skeptical. But at the end of the day, this is important stuff. And so Dr. Paul Offit is not wrong when he says, when he says the words dangerous, it can be, disinformation can be dangerous to your health, right? Unless you're smart about it. And looking at yourself, your kids, your family in a holistic way. And that was one thing RFK Jr. has brought up. That's what Lynn was bringing up. I'm all for that. But I'm not about spreading fear or disinformation. You know me. I'm never about that. So I'm not going to say to you, oh, don't get a vaccine. They're dangerous to you. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I've had all of them, including the initial COVID one. But it's all about risk reward as well, is it not? 855-839-1210. Oh boy, now I've opened up Pandora's box. I might have to escape to Italy. What I'm interested in finding out, I will research this more and do more interviews in depth, but I am interested in what other countries, how they differ from us as far as this very issue. So I'll always look into that. All right, Dan is cueing me with the lovely music. I hope you join me next spring on the Italian Riviera. This is a trip of a lifetime. Yes, if you went last time and you know Lorenzo and Romina, sister and brother duo, they're the dynamic duo. They are awesome. They're going to be back with us. Conservative Tours, crafting this itinerary, sure to enchant all of us. Tuscany, Riviera, Northern Italian Lakes region, Cinque Terre, dining events that you will never forget. And I'm being serious. 5378, yes, that includes your airfare. Pisa, Michelangelo's, Florence, fashion capital of Milan. Call toll-free, do this because just a couple of spots are left here. 888-733-9494, conservativetours.com. Luxury hotels, a Mercedes coach, a tour leader who is absolutely the best. That's Conservative Tours in Italy. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Charming Siena, home to Il Palio, the medieval Manhattan, San Gimignano, Medina, Lake Como, Vernazza. Join me next spring in Italy. I'll see you in Portofino. ConservativeTours.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. DuckDuckGo has millions of users and thousands of 5-star reviews. Local company making privacy products in our area since 2010. I want to tell you about Privacy Pro, and you're going to get a 30-day free trial at DuckDuckGo.com/1210. Why do you need Privacy Pro? Well, come on, it's so obvious, right? With all the hackers and scammers out there. Privacy Pro is your 3-in-1 privacy solution from the name in privacy, DuckDuckGo. You're going to get the VPN, personal information removal, and identity theft restoration. And subscribers get a service that will help restore your identity if it gets stolen. Plus, you get the VPN and secure your Wi-Fi connection wherever you are. And I'm always on the road, so that's huge for me. And personal information removal. I don't want anybody knowing any of my personal details. You get all that for less than $10 a month. It's amazing. You got to have it in this day and age. And you get a 30-day free trial, but only if you go to DuckDuckGo.com/1210. DuckDuckGo.com/1210. Sign up today just like I did. DuckDuckGo.com/1210.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
The Crash Proof Retirement Show will air before and after Penn State football this Saturday. Tune in at 11 a.m., then again right after the game to learn how to create your own Crash Proof Retirement game plan.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Attention December holiday shoppers. TurnersvilleJeep.com is celebrating holiday deals all month long. Wranglers, Grand Cherokees, Compasses, and Ram trucks as low as $269 per month at TurnersvilleJeep.com. Example 2024 Jeep Compass. VIN number SD505785. 4-cylinder auto, power steering, power brakes, AC, MSRP 33840. CEL. Payments of $269 a month for 42 months with $45.99 due at inception. TOP 16166. 7,500 miles per year. Residual 18,950. $595 acquisition fee. Tier 1 credit through Stellantis Financial. Includes $4,000 in rebates. Price includes all costs except for licensing costs, registration fees, taxes, and $599 doc fee. Offer not valid with trade-in. Ends 1/2/25.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax. They know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
It's Joe Conklin with the City Rhythm Orchestra at Westchester University and Pittman, New Jersey in February.
Alan Iverson, Joel Embiid.
My dad set this up. This was actually a Christmas gift to bring us all together, come see Joe and relive all the Philadelphia history. It's amazing.
That's Conklin with City Rhythm and the story of Philly sports through music. Westchester University on February 21st and the Broadway Theater in Pittman, New Jersey on February 22nd. Tickets to a Conklin show make great holiday gifts. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Yeah, so I don't know what I was thinking, Dan. I just opened Pandora's box with bringing that whole thing up. But
your phone
that's
blowing
all right.
up?
I know. Phone's blowing up. Yeah. Everybody's got an opinion. By the way, that Dr. Wakefield, who's no longer a doctor, I will just say that he's in this country, left the UK. But I will say that what's interesting to me is that his initial focus was on inflammatory bowel disease and autism, and the link between inflammatory bowel disease and autism, which I never knew that because I was just looking it up. And so basically, my takeaway from a lot of this, the more we learn, the more we realize that a healthy gut is the key to overall health. We can probably agree. I'm trying to find a common ground, But that's my bottom line on this, is learning about a healthy gut and what that means. So that's my little takeaway from that. But that was his initial study. And we can go back and forth. He's called, they've said that he's debunked. They claim that he admitted to committing a little bit of fraud when he was apparently not really taking blood samples. That's the allegation against him. So there we go. There's that one. When we talk about Donald J. Trump, there's a lot of news about Trump. There's a lot of news about the drones. And I'll wrap up that with a bow and say, when Trump came out, what was that, Monday in his first news conference? Today's Wednesday. I'm done. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I just, and maybe I'm just too trusting with things, with especially with the new administration. But when Trump came out Monday and he said, hey, the current administration knows what these drones are, military knows what the drones are, and he's encouraging them to be more transparent. But I felt like he basically was telling us it is indeed something having to do with the government. And I think the tell question was when they asked him, are you, did you have a security briefing on this? And he wouldn't answer, because of course he did. I know everybody's still talking about it. To me, it's like, meh, it's Santa Claus. I just dropped it from my head. I know everybody else is focused on the drones, but I just think it's practice run. They're practicing because that is the future. That makes total sense to me. And even the story about they were looking for some medical device, we talked about that all morning on Kill and Company, but I don't think all those big drones were searching for one little lost medical device. I don't believe that either. I think these are practice runs. And it all goes back to one of the kids over the weekend saying, if they're so bad, why would they have lights on? And I swear to God, kids are just brilliant, but they do give us the truth, and that's the truth. Why would, if this is an evil entity from, I don't know, some alien planet or, Iran, whatever, they're not going to have the lights on. So that's my common sense reassurance to myself. I'm just saying. We'll continue the conversation tomorrow. And, of course, we'll watch for that big vote. And then remember, we're waiting for word from Delco, higher taxes, Chester County, higher taxes, talking about all of that. The Dom Show